105th episode of the Gutenberg Changelog podcast. In today's episode, we will talk about Gutenberg 18.9, a little bit of blog themes, WooCommerce, and more. I'm your host, Birgit Pauli-Haack, curator at the Gutenberg Times and a full-time core contributor for the WordPress open source project, sponsored by Automatic. My special guest today is the wonderful Ellen Bauer, early adopter of blogs and blog themes, with themes from Elmer Studio, from New Zealand, temporarily from Bangkok, Thailand. Thank you so much for joining me today. How are you, Ellen?
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here. Yes, I'm in Bangkok right now, so I'm very good. Thank you. Yeah. How are you, Birgit?
I'm good. Munich's getting really summer temperatures. So we're at 33 degrees already early in the morning. Well, not that early, but yeah, it's really hot. And with apartments without air conditioning, we have fans.
Oh, that is great. I think that's even hotter than Bangkok right now because here it's the rainy season, so it's kind of like coolish for Bangkok terms, maybe 29 or 30 degrees.
Yeah, it's similar.
Quite nice.
It's probably humid too.
It is. Yeah, but compared to like 2 months ago, so it's actually really nice. So yeah, we're enjoying it.
Yeah.
Another 2 weeks, then we will be back in New Zealand, winter New Zealand. So yeah, a change is coming up.
Yeah. You need some warm clothes there. Yeah. So
yeah, I already ordered fleece sweaters that we will bring.
So since we last talked, and it's probably you and I, we met at WordCamp Europe, but since you were last on the Changelog, your responsibilities have changed quite a bit in the last few weeks. So what are you working on right now?
Yeah, that is true. Changed a lot. So just after WordCamp Europe in Turin, I started as a product manager for WooCommerce. Yeah, so with Automatic now, which is very exciting. And yeah, it's a great responsibility and opportunity for me that I'm very excited about. And yeah, everyone has been welcoming me so nicely, and I'm still in the onboarding phase. And yeah, it's really, really fun at the moment and lots to do. And I have lots of ideas my main responsibility is trying to increase blog theme adoption for WooCommerce. And yeah, there's a lot to do still. So lots of work and lots of fun working on that. Yeah, I'm really, really grateful.
But just from my personal opinion, I think they couldn't have chosen a better person to do all that. So I'm really happy that you're my co-worker and that you're working on the WooCommerce things. Yeah. So yeah, things are moving in the WordPress space. There are quite a few things happening, and you can all learn about these other things on the other podcasts like Do the Woo. Yeah, I don't know if you haven't tuned into those podcasts. There are about 12 different shows with, I think, 20 different hosts. So that's definitely something to look about, dear listeners. And other than, there's also a WP Minute with Matt Medeiros. He has some great shows and commentary on the news in WordPress. And here we kind of, stick to Gutenberg and what's around blogs development and blog themes. So first announcement today is the videos for the intermediate theme developer course on the learning pathways on YouTube. So the training team has been working on learning pathways for beginner, intermediate, and advanced, and then build courses around it. So you could start with the beginner developer course and then go to the intermediate theme developer and then to the advanced. And all those courses or lessons in those courses are actually self-contained. So you could kind of just pick and choose which one you want to learn about. But the intermediate theme developer course, there are 32 videos, and it's covering everything from global styles and theme JSON, template parts, patterns, style variations, block styles, you name it, what's in block themes. But the course is also built around, it covers also classic themes. So for instance, the loop, or how to use the theme JSON in classic themes. So if you need some refresher on certain concepts, you definitely can watch them individually or use the course on Learn.WordPress.org to get it in sequence. I also will share the link to the beginner WordPress developer course, which has been published also a couple of weeks ago. Just want to remind you that that is there. Yeah.
We also have upcoming developers hours. And I think that's a really exciting topic for blog developers on August 13th, 3 p.m. UTC, with the title Developer Hours Hello Blogs, an introduction to blog development. Yeah, I think that's super interesting topic for everyone who hasn't built blogs or just wants to get like a refresher or update on it. So yeah, blogs are used now with almost all WordPress projects, and core blogs cover quite a wide range of things that you can do with them. You also have a lot of third-party blog libraries available, but yeah, sometimes it's just not enough and you need to build your own blog. I've been there, and so
yeah, you definitely have been there. Yes.
it's really a lesson learned to try to build your own blog, and it's actually way easier, I felt, for most cases, for most custom blogs, compared to what I initially thought. And yeah, so we've come up a long way, and you can learn in this developer hours how to build your own custom blog from scratch, which is really cool.
Yeah.
So there's a meetup link for that
in the
that
show
we will
notes,
share.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was just a couple of weeks ago, there was the developer hours. Do you really need a custom blog? So what are the alternatives to building custom blogs?
Okay.
So this is kind of, okay, you decided, so block styles is not enough, block variations is not enough, patterns with sync patterns, overrides are not enough. You need your own custom block because the core block doesn't give you enough features or anything, but then you need to start from scratch. And if you haven't started yet, this definitely gets you an into the topic and the space. So 2 days later, there will be a hallway hangout with Anne McCarthy, and it's about, let's chat about what's next in Gutenberg. With WordPress 6.6 being out, yeah, the teams are already working feverishly on what they want to put into WordPress 6.7. And Anne McCarthy wrote about this. This hallway hangout seeks to be another snapshot of what's being worked on Gutenberg plugin to provide a broader awareness to more WordPress contributors and get feedback. The hope is to come together early to talk about different features, flush out concerns sooner, and help more folks get involved and find ways to work better together. I know that there are quite a few things in the roadmap for 6.7. The official roadmap hasn't been published yet, but watch out. I think after that hallway hangout, we will find something on the Make blog. Are you excited about 6.7?
Yes, and I will definitely try to make that hallway hangout. I think I will be the first time back in New Zealand, so I hope I'm not too jet lagged. But yeah, I think that's really excited. And I appreciate Anne's work of kind of giving us an overview of things that are happening with her source of truth for the releases. They're just amazing and so helpful for everyone who is busy and can't kind of catch up with everything happening because there's happening so much. I think I joined the last hallway hangout on like what kind of giving us a glimpse into the future and also being able to be shaping that future. So I think, I hope lots of people can join.
Yeah, I forgot to tell anybody when it's going to happen. It's going to be August 15th at 1500 UTC, 3 p.m. UTC. And I also share the announcement for that hangout in the show notes because it also lists what parts of the content of it. And it's about data views, of course, and it's about sync patterns. It's about canonical block examples. The discussion hasn't ended yet what a canonical block plugin will be, but people are working on additional blocks for core, then gallery block, grid layout, and then the zoom out view are definitely, and together with the advanced content only editing, those will be topics of that hangout and kind of see the first iterations or discussions or heated discussions about it.
Yeah, I think also for WooCommerce, the concept of canonical blocks and having some of them maybe for Woo blogs as well is really interesting and could help like just filling some gaps that are there currently for blog theme builders and just everyone working with blogs trying to build e-commerce sites.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's really exciting. So there's one more announcement, which another developer hour, and with the title Building WordPress Themes with Create Block Theme Plugin, the Create Block Theme Plugin, which I think is so exciting. And it's happening on August 27th at 3 p.m. UTC, and with Tammy Lister and you, Birgit.
Yeah,
So
just a little bit.
yes, I really love the Create Block theme plugin, and I get lots of questions from our theme users or like agency users how they can use it to maybe create child themes or create new themes that are block themes easily. So I think that's really exciting for small site builders and agencies to work with that plugin and yeah, learn about it more in the developer hours. So the topics that you two will cover, and it sounds like a lovely learning session, is you will cover how to create a theme with plugin from scratch, how to clone an existing block theme or create a child theme. That's one of the questions I think I have a lot from people who have been working more with classic themes, is like, do I even need a child theme? How do I create one from a block theme? Like, how does it all work? I think it's still a new concept for many people. So that will be super useful. Then how to customize your theme in the site editor. Also very good, I feel, because there's still some confusion of what the site editor is actually doing, how to use it. So I think that will be so helpful for people, how media is used in templates and how you can manage media, how the plugin helps make themes translation ready. That's also one of the questions I have from people. Yeah, that is all really, really helpful content that you will cover in that developer hour.
Yeah. The Create Block theme kind of bridges the gap. We have 3 different design tools. Yeah, one is coming from the theme through theme JSON. First, there's core. Yeah, and then there is the theme JSON from the theme, and then there are user changes in the site editor. And they all come together on a site through the black box I call the site, the style engine, but the user changes, they all end up in the database. And for a theme developer, if you want to create the theme that you reuse someplace else, you need to get it out of the database into your theme JSON. And that's what this Create Block Theme plugin is actually doing. And then a lot of things around it. So you can export whatever you do in the site editor or your client is doing in the site editor. You can all then harvest that and put it back into the theme. To maybe use on other side or put it into version control or just have it on a test site or something like that. So Create Block theme. So August 27th, 3 p.m. UTC, 1500 UTC is definitely a place if you're interested in that particular topic. Yeah. So I wanted to also point our dear listeners, to our developer blog, because we have 2 new posts that might be interesting to you. Damon Cook, he's a developer relations manager or developer relations person from WP Engine. He published on the developer blog, building a card layout with a hover reveal effect. Meaning in the short tutorial, you learn how to add a block style to a core block. That's always a great skill to have. And then add additional CSS for animation. And it's even interesting for content creators. You learn how to create a grid block with card style cover block. So I just reviewed it and tested the code. And it's a real neat example on what is possible with a block editor, even if the core doesn't provide you with all the features like the animation, you could still add it in CSS in a block style. And similar to that, as Justin Tadlock's new post on the developer blog, it's mixing and matching styles, colors, and typography in WordPress 6.6. And he teaches us how to create custom color and typography only global style variations now with the new version. So universe is expanding exponentially with all the style variations, and where you can do section styles and then just offer different variations for certain sections. It's really neat. There was also a hallway hangout where we kind of discussed that all previously. So I will share that link as well in the show notes.
Yeah, I love just it's kind of easy concept with the style variations and styles. really get a different look on the front end. I really love it.
Well, it's not only on the front end, you also get it into the editor if you do it right. Yeah, it kind of pulls it into the editor. Yeah. So I did some basic testings, and I was able to just put in the JSON notation, you can just put a style variation in the styles directory on your theme. And you don't have, and it pulls it automatically in. You don't have to worry about registering in PHP or registering your CSS separately from editor or something. It all comes in right away, and it also uses those things in front end as well as in block editor, and it's just fabulous. Yeah, there's some nice magic going on. I haven't finished my post yet, but I'm gonna write on the Gutenberg Times about it, how to easy put like a frame around your images and all that, or different kind of frames or shadows and all that, how to just add it to a style and then grab it from in the theme, or WordPress grabs it from your styles directory in the theme. So it's really magic. All right,
that is cool.
That's really cool.
So yeah, let's talk about the Gutenberg release 18.9. That's really cool. That is like 18 releases. Really, really great. So with this release, there were 245 PRs merged by 59 contributors, and the release contains 84 enhancements and 72 bug fixes. That's a lot of work. Really, really beautiful to see that coming together. So
yeah, don't worry, we are not talking about every single one of them.
Every single thing.
Otherwise, we would be here another 2.5 hours or 3, but no.
We're kind of wrapping it together.
Yeah, we're wrapping it together. So the biggest changes are in the block library. That was more a quality of life kind of changes, that they added examples to the previews to the blocks. Like there were a few blocks where you have them, and then there are quite a few blocks where you don't have them. And they started the work in 18.8, and then 18.9 they continue it, and now there are examples for the post author block, the post date block. We don't call them that anymore. It's the author block, the date block, the featured image block, and the terms block. When you have them in the inserter in code, they still have the prefix of post, but that prefix went away. But yeah, that's definitely a quality of life change. So it makes the mystery, takes the mystery out of it. Yeah, what is this kind of block? What does it do?
It's very helpful. Then the query loop block got enhancements too. So the post list variation was removed. The convert the post content type setting to a toggle group control if there were a few items. Then query loop changed the default query loop variations and set query loop to have the inherit value by default. Then I think the SoundCloud icon got updated in the social links block. I think these were, that's another block, the social links block.
No
Not
worries,
in the query loop block anymore. Yeah, but it also got an update.
Yeah, the icon was actually updated. On the query loop, there's have the inherit value by default is something that got, I don't know, it was a 50-50 chance that people get confused about it, what it does. And now they and it was not by default switched on. So when you do the categories or so, it takes the inherit value from the query parameters, from the link where it came from. And sometimes that got people confused when they built their own query loops on pages.
It actually confused me quite a lot in the beginning. I remember that. And I never quite knew, should I have it toggled on or off? And then I always had to kind of test it out. I remember that.
And
got me always.
Yeah, and now you get confused the other way because they changed it around.
I feel, yeah, probably. I always kind of had to test it. I was like, why is it not working?
Yeah. And then
how I wanted it to work.
Yeah. It wasn't intuitive, and I'm not sure if it's more intuitive now, but we will find out. Yeah. True. So test it, and
I will test it again too. I haven't tested it.
Yeah. And dear listeners, yeah, everything here is for testing. Yeah, test it out and chime in. And I'm just going to do a little side note here. We have on the WordPress Slack, there is a outreach channel where we can discuss those confusing things. Yeah. So if you are not quite sure how it's supposed to work, come into the channel, discuss it with us. Or there are quite a few theme developers in there, and we have about 800 people in the channel. Not all of them, most of them are lurkers, of course, like in any community, but there's always somebody there who has can help out. And it's quite a nice bunch. And we have all been there, that we tried to figure things out and needed help figuring it out. So it was coming into the outreach channel. Yeah, so as for the enhancement, there's enhancements on the components, quite a few, but I wanted to just point out the tabs component is getting quite some attention now, because it's one of the components that you could add to, that is needed for the data views or for the admin, as well as for content creators. So they're building that component so you can add them to your custom blocks if you need, if there's a need to that. And it also is used actually in the sidebar. Yeah, when you have the settings and the styles tabs in the sidebar from a block, that's also using the tabs component. And there are quite a few changes there, so check them out.
And for the design tools, I think border blocks support got added to quite a few blocks. The term description block, the media text block, gallery block got border block support. The social links, paragraph, quote, and heading got border support. Or is it an inherited from outer blocks? I'm not 100% sure. Maybe you can help me out there, Birgit.
Well, no, I don't think it's inherited. It's block intern. So
just added.
yeah.
Okay.
So
directly
those directly, yeah. So if you put a paragraph in your canvas, you get in the style section, you get the border controls like radius and color and thickness and style. Yeah. And yeah, there was for WordPress 6.6, I published a post with the roster of which design tools are available for which block, because and there were quite a few holes.
I'm surprised that it isn't. I thought that like heading and things had the border control already. Yeah, it's such a useful little support that should be, that can be almost on every core block, I feel.
Right, but it needed to have a few iterations before it kind of gets rolled out to all the blocks to make sure that it's actually feasible and workable. And until then, it was only on the group block and on the pull quote and on the columns, I think, and images. So there were quite a few that had it. And now they're actually going through the list on adding and where whichever block can actually be using it.
Yeah, so there are quite a few that it gets added to, which I think is useful. I remember when I built my own blocks, I always used to try to add it to the blocks because they are just a useful little snippet and can be used in kind of creative ways and be helpful at some points. I think sometimes I use just the bottom border to create a line below something or above something. So yeah, you can be quite creative with it to use. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be used that way. Maybe I'm getting people into giving them wrong ideas. But
no, the tools are there to just have a border on the bottom of things. Or I sometimes use it not with the block editor, but when I was building sites and doing some CSS there, I was only just using the right side and the bottom to mimic a drop shadow. Yeah, without having
quite
to
helpful.
Use the drop shadow. Yeah. So and it's all there. Yeah, you can have a radius there. You can have a border color changes, thickness, also the different types. So there's solid, there's dotted line, and all that. That's all available now to all those blocks. Yeah. And one of them is actually also the buttons block. Yeah, so you can have a border now. You always could have a border around the single button, but not around the whole button set if you have 2 or 3 or more buttons in a row. So that is really cool too. Yeah.
What else do we have in here? I think an update on data views, right?
Well, there's more support coming on. So the latest comment got color support, and then the buttons got padding, border, and color, and the image got margin support. That I was surprised that it didn't have it, but it obviously didn't have it before. And then the quote block also got spacing support. So yeah, so that's kind of, I have to rebuild the blog post that I did on the Make blog about the roster and which design tools are supported by which block for the next version, definitely as well. So data views, there is now a reordering of the columns possible. Yeah, so when you see your pages in a list, you can change the order of the columns and possibly also switch it off. It also now have support for the filters. You can combine fields to filter things. And it also now gives you an updated front page badge in your pages where the page that is the front page is going to be identified differently. So with a nice little icon. So that's in the data views. Data views are just the admin pages for themes, for templates, pages, and patterns in the site editor.
Yeah, I really love that update. I think it just brings this modern feel into WordPress. I think we had been looking at the tables for too long.
Right, yeah. And I'm glad that they are doing it for the site editor separately from the WP admin,
yeah.
So it kind of works out nicely. But it actually is another point of friction for new users where they see the ad. It's not a consistent admin thing, so it kind of gives a little bit of a confusion. What is in which place? Where do I go from things? We know that from WordPress.com when they had Calypso, but yeah, but that's a temporary thing, of course. And I know that some of the contributors are already working on getting the list of posts into the data view in the new data views, but it needs to be done very carefully because
that is true.
Yeah, there are quite a few extensibility features beforehand and the backwards compatibility with plugins and all, because for 10 years pretty much plugins were the ones who actually fixed some of the old UI in WordPress and every plugin did it a different way. So we need to kind of make sure that all the contributors want to make sure that all this backwards compatibility is not gonna blow up some pages there.
Yeah, very exciting work, I feel. So another update has been to the locking of blocks. I think just UI update. So they tweaked I think just added some spacing and changed the button size of the block logging modal. So I think it just kind of has a little bit more spacing and is kind of easier to read and update. That was also in the latest release.
Yeah, sometimes these little tweaks actually help a lot, contributing to the consistency and to take out the mystery and kind of make the user brain kind of feel comfortable where they are and not get confused just because.
Yeah, definitely so much. Yeah, it small changes can make a big difference. It's really amazing to to see that. And I think mainly it's the spacing added and the button size. It does look a little bit like just more like cleaner and better to understand for our brains. So I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, and then there's one new API that well, it's not new, but the block bindings API received some unification from get value and get values on the functions there that you have: get value, set values, and get values. That's certainly for developers interesting to make sure that your block bindings still work with this. And have some there's no additional features in there. I think just that it's a developer experience kind of enhancement. So it makes it a little bit easier to work with the block bindings there. All right.
So I think then we move on to experiments, or did I skip something? I'm just wondering.
No, I don't think so.
There is a long list of, so yeah, in the experiments, I think it's all about the grid block. Am I right? And you maybe, Birgit, need to help me out a little bit here, kind of getting
no problem.
The listeners up to date, because I haven't had the chance to properly tested myself. I will do that definitely.
Yeah.
But
So,
I think, yeah, it's just kind of fine tuning, and some things have been disabled.
so the
Maybe
experiment,
help me out, Birgit.
yeah, I do. I will. So it's just one of the experiments that is there is the interactive grid layout. And there
Yeah.
has been quite a few changes there or updates that we want to point out. One is the block movers. The handles have changed, and it's probably easier to move now blocks from one grid cell to the other, which you probably want to do anyway. And then also adding a block to the grid block was, I tested it and it confused me a bit, and I was not alone, was that I would have hoped that the plus sign for the inserter would be in the grid cell, but it was on the
Yeah.
outside of the grid block, and it wouldn't help. It was kind of a tricky to get a new block into a full grid block. So that has changed. You definitely need to switch on the experiments though to figure that out. And then there's also
So it's just, if you haven't, I think under Gutenberg experiments, and I think this is grid interactivity is the name that you have to switch on, right?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
And then the other part is that there's a visualizer popover, and they kind of also confuse people how to use it, and they kind of hide it now under the canvas, so it's kind of hidden away. So yeah, they also have for the manual grids, they disable some of the inserter in between inserters, and they also don't display the default appender for the manual grid, but it's really a work in progress. And it definitely needs some more testing.
It is, and it's quite complicated to make it very user friendly, but a great tool to have. So that's really exciting.
Yeah, it is
Get
absolutely. Yeah.
working with grids finally. I remember that was one of the first more complex blocks that I will build was I want to have grid layout, and actually some of the things that are now in core look quite similar to what I have done, which is kind of cool to see that. Yeah, it's very different, of course, easier to use and complex, but the core, with the rows and how you can kind of snap them into it's into multiple columns. It's quite similar, which is kind of cool. And to see that really come into core, I'm so happy about it.
Yeah, I like the core col span and row span for each cell that you can kind of move it around. It's really interesting. You can get some nice layouts that are called bento layouts, like the bento boxes from Japanese cuisines.
Yes.
You can build your own website as a bento box. It's really cool. Or if you so prefer, you can actually build a Pied Mondrian design with just squares and and rectangles, which I like.
Yeah, grid changes the layout options so much. I love it. It's incredible. It's crazy that we didn't have it for such a long time, and we kind of had to just stack everything below each other, in a long kind of one column thing. It's so much more creative, and I think it gives just a lot of flexibility to layout building for users. So it's really exciting to have that as a block.
Definitely. It was in WordPress core since 6.2 for CSS or for theme builders, for developers, but there wasn't any interface for that. And I'm really happy that we now have an interface. But that is also where the complication comes in, because some of the concepts are really hard for somebody who doesn't have any knowledge about how grid layout is supposed to work. It's really hard to convey the concepts with the interface. So I'm glad they're taking it slow, but I'm also glad that they're taking it one step at a time and get people into how to use that. Yeah, they're quite great theme developers that show people what they can do with it. And even that, and I mentioned before, Damon Cook's article for the developer blog has some nice instructions on how to create a card layout with the grid block and with the stack block, and combining all these great tools. It's really interesting what can happen there. All right.
Yeah, it changes a lot. I also like that, we work slowly on it, because it's really complex, and like you said, could confuse users because it's quite hard to understand.
So there were quite a few updates to the documentation, and I almost like to call them out because one of the big hurdles for developers getting into block development and block themes and so is kind of the leaky documentation, that not everything is documented well enough. And so the contributors updated the documentation for the interactivity API on how to install and import the interactivity API to a block. And then also the Alpine versus Preact extra explanations. Those are libraries on which the interactivity API is based on. So having some of that explanations in the documentation probably dissolves some of the mystery as well. And then the get context function received an update on the usage examples in conjunction with a namespace argument. So, and then there were a few other updates as well. All right, what else is in there? I think that was it. That was it for the
I think that was it.
Gutenberg 18.9. Of course, there were, I think we talked about maybe 45 of the 245 PRs that landed in there. Definitely consult the changelog from the release post that came out, and I will share in the show notes when this podcast is published. So we come to the section, what's in active development or discussed. And I wanted to point out all the plugin developers around you or around me here amongst the listeners to a PR that's 61577 on the Gutenberg repo that is the first iteration on a plugin template registration API for plugins. It has been really hard for plugins to, say you offer a custom post type for books or recipes or something like that. How do you add a template for the block themers that goes into the site editor? That was a big hurdle there. With a new PR, there will be a new functions and new class. So there will be a WP underscore register underscore template function, and there will be a WP underscore block underscore templates registry class. And they're all based on register block type, but they actually go into the template. And when you follow the PR, you also see some code examples that you can use first for testing and also for learning about this API and how it's going to work. Right now, it's not yet merged, but it's getting ready to be merged. And I hope it's going to be in 19.0, latest 19.1. But if you want to test it yourself, you need to get through some hoops there. You would need to fork Gutenberg, then check out the branch for the PR, run npm install, so you get all the npm updates there, right there, and then you can follow those testing instructions. If you add a plugin to a local or a local WP site install, so you can symlink that. But yeah, it's definitely for developers. Dear content creators and no-code site builders, kind of need to shut your ears a bit. It's going to be a little technical there. But I just wanted to point that out because it would be really helpful to have early tests in there. You can also wait until it's merged and then grab either the release or grab the Gutenberg Nightly to test it and use those examples that are in the PR for your testing. I'm sure there will be an announcement for call for testing in the outreach channel and probably on the Make blog as well. But this is the first time you hear about it. Yeah. And then I'm wondering when the next time of the Gutenberg changelog will be. And yeah, Alan, you're probably happy to know that the developer who contributes to core is actually coming from WooCommerce, who had some trouble implementing block templates for a plugin, a major plugin, right?
Yeah, I think, that's really cool to see now that I kind of see a lot of the behind the scenes things happening, that, there's really an effort to kind of like contribute work across all these multiple instances at Automattic. I really love to see that. And I think there's an effort to do more of it. And so that's really exciting to see that WooCommerce could contribute something to core. And I will also hope that with the block themes that or like the adoption of block themes to push that, I will be able to do that too, to contribute to core with things we feel needed is in WooCommerce. I think there's a lot to do there, which is exciting.
Yeah, you're the trailblazer there for adoption of block themes on the extension sites. Yeah, so that's really cool. So
yeah, it's interesting.
We're coming to the end of our show. This was a little shorter than usual. Don't fear, we'll come back end of August with covering with more and covering two plugin releases, 19.0 and 19.1. We will record a show at the last week in the last week of August, because I will go on vacation, and it's a 2-week vacation, and then with this week and the next week kind of jumbling, it's going to be a 4-week hiatus for the podcast as well as for the weekend edition. So the weekend
well-deserved rest for you.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
It's quite active. It sounds like an active holiday. So maybe not rest, but just a change of scenery is always good.
It's a change of scenery, but we don't have a whole lot of daily activities. Yeah, we're going to British Columbia, and it's all about a landscape.
Beautiful.
It's about water.
Yeah.
It's about boating, and it's about just sitting there
outdoors.
Outdoors, and do some hikes. Yeah, so
beautiful.
Indeed. So, Ellen, thank you so much for joining us again here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, if people want to connect
I
with
remember
you,
the last one I did was also a 2 version update. I was like, oh my goodness, this is a lot. So I hope I did a little better this time. And you want to have me back at some point.
You can't do badly. I know you, Ellen. You're one of the well-prepared co-hosts here on the show, so don't you worry a bit.
We'll see if you invite me back at some point.
I can put it on a calendar, but I don't want to scare you.
No, I'd love to, actually. It's really helpful for me to kind of stay up to date with things. I love that. Really good for me too.
All right. So if people want to connect with you, where and in your new role, where would they reach you? Are you on the WooCommerce Slack or?
I'm on the WooCommerce community Slack. I am on the WordPress Slack and on Twitter, quite active. So yeah, I think you can, like Instagram, YouTube, you can kind of find me anywhere if you Google Ellen Bauer. So yeah, I'm around and I love to connect. I think one of the things I really feel is important and that I can contribute to help WooCommerce too is that I really want to be available to everyone building block themes for e-commerce. And really one of the third things is that I want to collect the feedback and the pain points. And I know, because I've built a WooCommerce block theme myself, that there are a lot of pain points. Still, there's a lot of improvements have made, and it's just very complicated work. So we have to be patient and we have to just kind of speak up and engage and kind of just work together on it. It's a really big topic to make this work. So I'm around. And one of the things I'm also planning, I haven't announced it yet, but I will within the next 1 or 2 weeks, is that I also plan, because I am so inspired by Anne's work doing the hallway hangouts, and was so good for me to kind of have this kind of little community to like voice the issues and just in a casual way. So I want to create a little community hangout, Zoom hangout around WooBlock themes. And yeah, so I think that will be good to get out there, and then kind of people can join in, and then we'll have different topics and just have it very casually. So I will announce that very soon on the kind of just everywhere I can, so people can get aware of it. But so here I am saying it to you.
You heard it here first, dear listeners.
Actually, yeah, it's the first time. I mean, because I'm still getting like onboarded and there's lots to do, but I think that is important to kind of get established early, like a monthly little hangout to be available, because that's one of the main goals I have, is just to be available for people who try to build with WooCommerce. And yeah, it's just really, really important to hear everyone out and to just be available. So yeah, just
that's terrific.
ping me with any questions you have.
Yeah, that's terrific. I really am glad that you're picking up on that. There's also a roadmap post out from Bo Levens, I think, where WooCommerce is going. And
that's very exciting.
Yeah, and I will also share the link to the WooCommerce community Slack in the show notes. And well, if your announcement is out and the next weekend edition comes out, it's going to be in there. And yeah, that will come out in the end of August
and
as
I
well.
think the WooCommerce developer blog really is like way more exciting now. They do great work there too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the developer relations, Stephanie Pye, Natalie, I think is her name. Yeah, they do some good. Oh, Jacqueline, yeah. Why do I think Natalie? There must be somebody else. Jacqueline, yeah. They really connected with the community through. I saw it at WordCamp Europe, yeah, when they connected with the community and talked with a few plugin developers and also in WordCamp Asia. So, yeah. All right. Before we
wrap it up.
Wrap it up.
Oh,
yes.
Not yet.
Yeah, as always.
You need to get on vacation. I want to get you on vacation.
As always, the show notes will be published on gutenbergtimes.com/podcast. And this is number 105. And if you have questions or suggestions or news you want us to include, send them to changelog@gutenbergtimes.com. That's changelog@gutenbergtimes.com. Or just ping me on the WP Slack or on Twitter, DM me, wherever you find me. That's it. Thanks for listening. Goodbye from me. And thanks again to Ellen Bauer. And you have a wonderful summer, everybody.
Thank you. Yeah, bye. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Bye.